Welcome to part 1 of our car and truck deduction set of 2 mini lessons here at Teaching Tax Flow. We constantly get questions, which we love, about putting a vehicle into service and determining if you should take the standard mileage or actual expense, or should you buy or lease the vehicle. So we put this content together for your enjoyment. We're going to jump right into the subject matter, and we're going to talk about some guidance. So this mini lesson does have a significant amount of IRS guidance, so you might want to pause it at times to take notes or have it on a separate monitor while as you go through Teaching Tax Flow. So first we're going to look at IRS publication 463 to determine what is a transportation expense. We're going to look at tax topic 510 for guidance on standard mileage rate and actual expense. Go back to Pub 463 for leased vehicles. And then we're going to look at our proprietary Teaching Tax Flow automobile and truck deduction matrix, then look at our calls to action. So under publication 463, that's what you're looking at on the screen. There's obviously a big item for the IRS. You're looking at page 1 on the left-hand side. It really lays out your travel, gift, and car expenses. One big concept when it comes to travel is determining where your tax home is. Because one of the things to consider is that commuting is not deductible at any time. But so if you have a home office and you can establish that your home office is your tax home, then you don't have commuting, and almost all of your mileage or your travel can be deductible. So the IRS defines on the upper right-hand corner your tax home to be the regular place of business. Doesn't have to be your only place of business, regardless of where you maintain your family home. So think about where is your tax home. We also have another great mini lesson on home office deduction that's part of this Teaching Tax Flow Entrepreneur course. Now, transportation expenses. Let's go down here. Getting from one workplace to another in the course of your business or profession when you're traveling within a city or general area that is your tax home. So that's why it's important to establish what your tax home is. I know this is very wordy in here, but we're just want you to understand that important distinction. Going on in IRS tax topic 510, when it talks about standard mileage rate, what the IRS says is that, hey, you can take deduct the costs of the business use of your vehicle, or you could take this standard mileage rate. The standard mileage rate really changes from year to year and is adjusted for inflation. Our matrix is going to help you determine if you take that standard mileage rate or actual expense method. Actual expense is right here. We actually, and if you have a vehicle over 6,000 pounds, usually actual expense might make a better choice. But we're going to dive in and we're going to keep working through this. We're going back to IRS publication 463 when we talk about leasing a car. The reason I wanted to bring this up specifically is that there's very special rules for leasing a vehicle, especially what's called a luxury vehicle, and some inclusion amounts. So just because you lease a vehicle doesn't, and even if it's 100% business use, doesn't mean you can automatically deduct 100% of the lease payment. So make sure that you're working with your tax professional in referencing publication 463 when you're determining should you lease a vehicle or buy a vehicle. Buy means that you're going to be able to take that depreciation deduction. Let's pull it together here. And this is where you might want to pause on this proprietary automobile and truck deduction matrix. What we did is we laid out the purchase versus lease, the advantages, the disadvantages of each, and then also actual expense versus standard mileage. And when you purchase a vehicle, you are eligible for bonus depreciation and Section 179 deduction. Now, these 2 items are really in part 2 of our automobile and truck mini lesson set. So really figure out if you have a luxury vehicle and think long-term when you're thinking about, should I take the actual expense or standard mileage, and should I lease or purchase? If you're purchasing or leasing, you could take either method, actual or standard. So just understand that and take a look at all these advantages and disadvantages. All right, calls to action. Let's assume, remember we talked about where your tax home is and if you're commuting or not commuting. So if you're eligible to deduct car and truck expenses, figure out what method works best for you. You don't have to elect that method until you file the tax return, the first tax return, when you put a vehicle into service. Utilize that automobile and truck deduction matrix. Make sure you keep accurate mileage logs for business use. Remember how generous that standard mileage rate is. It's really generous, especially if you have a lower cost vehicle and a lot of miles. Think long-term when deciding what deduction, because remember, if you sell a vehicle that you've fully depreciated, you might have depreciation recapture again. Check out the depreciation part 2 of the automobile and truck mini lesson when it talks about depreciation, deductions, and recapture. Finally, number 6, because I jumped to number 7, beware of lease inclusion amounts and, like I said, those depreciation recapture rules. Remember, once you place a vehicle into service, the tax return you have that you prepare after that will dictate what method you use. All right, thanks for watching and have a great day.
John here from Teaching Tax Flow. I wanted to thank you for watching this video. We literally have hundreds of hours of content between podcasts, webinars, videos just like this built specifically for you, the taxpayer. Whether you're a full-time employee, you're a freelancer, you're a contractor in some other sense, or you're thinking about getting into business for yourself, everything here at Teaching Tax Flow is perfect for you, basically going off of the roadmap provided by the IRS to legally and ethically reduce the taxes paid over your lifetime. So be sure to subscribe to this channel and connect with Teaching Tax Flow, and we will see everybody very soon.